I'm not sure if this place is called Rowtor or Rowtor Rocks, but I'm going to say Rowtor Rocks. I'm sure somebody will correct me there if I'm wrong. But yeah, Rowtor Rocks is amazing. Fascinating little spot. I just thought it'd be quite nice to just have a quick look around here before I start today's walk. Rowtor Rocks consists of numerous connected tunnels and caverns, some natural and some man-made. Many of the rocks have been carved with symbols and pictures, including serpents, circles and cups. A series of steps, thrones and altars have also been shaped out of the stone in a number of places. The carvings and caves date from the 17th century and are the handiwork of Reverend Thomas Eyre, a local druid who allegedly practiced witchcraft. It is believed that he used Rowtor Rocks in his druid ceremonies and also wrote his village sermons sitting on the seats he had carved, looking out over the landscape. From the rocks, I walked down to the village below. Birchover lies in the Peak District National Park, 5 miles northwest of Matlock. It has a collection of beautiful old cottages, many built of the distinctive pink gritstone from the Stanton Moor quarries located above the village. The Druid Inn, below Rowtor Rocks, is one of 2 pubs in the village and has a great reputation for food and real ales. It also has an interesting history, being apparently once the meeting place of the Druids who used the area around Birchover for ceremonial worship. The Red Lion dates from 1680 and was built on the site of a farm. The village today is small but has a thriving sense of community, with a number of festivals and events held throughout the year. Okay, that's a quick look around Birchover. On with the walk now then. From the Druid Inn, I took a footpath opposite, which climbed between the trees. Well, already I've seen lots of people before I've even started the walk properly. But it's going to be a beautiful day today. It's hot already. Shirt weather, don't need a fleece today, which is amazing for the time of year. It's the 30th of March 2021, but more importantly, yesterday the stay-at-home rule ended in England. Yes! That's just another step out of this bloody pandemic. So it's just got to keep looking forward rather than backwards, thinking, oh God, what's going to happen next? I've got to remain positive, and I'm sure a lot more people are feeling positive now with the roadmap out of lockdown underway. So it's going to be a good day today. I can feel it in my water. Well, I have a very special affection for this particular walk today. The reason being is because this was the very first walk in the Peak District that I ever did after I'd just moved to the area in 2003. This is Stanton Moor. And here's the first point of interest on Stanton Moor. On Stanton Moor, there are a number of these granite blocks. They are the harder rock that has remained as the plateau was worn down through the ages. The corkstone is 15 feet high and has iron footrests driven into it. It is also covered with graffiti, accumulated over many years. Lovely. Fascinating thing, the corkstone. Okay, I think I'll go that way. Bearing right, I continued along the path beyond the corkstone. Can see Matlock now quite clearly. It's a little bit hazy, but glorious day. Can just about see where I live. Somewhere in that mass of houses. Ah, what a glorious day. Great day to be alive. Okay, well, I'm going to turn off the main path now and make a left here. Stanton Moor is a small area of gritstone amongst the limestone country of the White Peak. This open, breezy, heather-clad moorland rises to 1,060 feet and gives glorious views across the Derwent Valley. The main characteristics of Stanton Moor are the curious rock formations and the vast amount of prehistoric remains, such as burial chambers, stone circles, fortifications, and standing stones like the corkstone. There are more than 70 barrows on the moor, mostly on the southern side, and often difficult to distinguish. Most of them were excavated between 1927 and the early 1950s by the local archaeologist J.C. Heathcote and his son J.P. Heathcote. They exhibited their finds in a private museum in nearby Birchover. As I headed north, the path entered Birch Woodland, where I was approaching the most imposing of Stanton Moor's many prehistoric remains. Okay, well, I'm now at the Nine Ladies Stone Circle. According to legend, the Nine Ladies were turned to stone as punishment for dancing on the Sabbath. However, more simply, the monument is thought to date from the Bronze Age and probably erected around 1500 BC. Like all such circles, nothing is really known about it, although it is presumed to have had some religious significance. Okay, that's the Nine Ladies Stone Circle. Nice to see other people enjoying the area too. I think, like me, people are just glad to have a little more freedom now, so they're going to make the most of it, especially on a day like today. Okay, got a bit further to go and then I'm going to stop and have my lunch. From the Nine Ladies, I continued along the main path, which took me in a northwesterly direction. Very soon, I found a quiet spot in the woods to stop for lunch. I think another reason why I'm in a particularly good mood today, apart from the fact that the stay-at-home rule ended yesterday, is that 3 days ago I had my first jab. So that's another big step on the route out of this pandemic. Brilliant. It's quite weird because I was expecting to receive a text. A lot of other people I know that have already had their first jab, they received a text, and they were told to make their appointment for a day's time after the text arrived. But I received a letter in the post, and the letter came one Saturday, and then it told me to book for the following Saturday, which is the Saturday just gone. But I was told to book the 2 appointments as well, so I've already booked my second jab, which is going to be the middle of June. So it's great. Just seems to be different for different people for some reason. But no, it was great. I mean, on Saturday, I went to this hotel where I had to go for the jab, and I must have seen about half a dozen people. I mean, it's quite funny, but they were so helpful. They couldn't do enough for you, really. You park your car, and then you walk towards the hotel. There was a young lass stood outside, and she takes your details and your booking reference. Then you walk around the side to the entrance of the hotel. There's a chap on the door there saying, also taking your details. He tells you to wait a few seconds before the person in front moves on. Then you walk inside, and then you see a third person behind a desk. She also takes your details. Then you move on, you see a fourth person, and this guy said, just wait here a few seconds before the previous person has had their jab. So the fifth person was the lady that actually took my jab. But as I say, I've got no complaints. It was just a lot of people there, but they just couldn't do enough for you. So I had the jab, and then I saw one more person who actually showed me the way out. But it's just great. I just feel so much better knowing that, you know, I know you can't be complacent, but as I say, it's just a huge step now into this way out of this bloody pandemic. It's just great. I just feel so good today. Just really feel good. I'm just taking another detour, so I want to have a look at the next village. So I will be coming back this way, but this village is worth a quick look. The path ended at a lane, along which I turned left to drop down into Stanton-in-Peak. The beautiful village of Stanton-in-Peak is a little gem. Pretty stone cottages clustered on a hillside, overlooking the most spectacular countryside. The village has a great deal of history. It was granted a royal charter in 968 under the name Stanton, meaning stony farm, and is mentioned in the Domesday Book as part of the barony of Henry de Ferrers. By the 1750s, the village was jointly owned by the Duke of Rutland and the Thornhill family. The Thornhill family arranged the building of the beautiful Church of the Holy Trinity, which dates back to the 1830s, as well as the village school and a reading room. They were responsible for the construction of many of the houses in the village for their estate workers, a number of which bear the initials WPT, which stands for William Pole Thornhill. The descendants of the Thornhill family still live in the stately home of Stanton Park. Today the village has a lively community with a lovely pub, the Flying Childers. This is another pub that I'm really looking forward to reopening after the pandemic. Flying Childers. What a great place. Going back a few years, my friend from Matlock and I that used to do walks in the evening sometimes after work for an hour, we often came here for a pint afterwards. We did a walk on Stanton Moor, and we would have done walks other parts of the Peak District, but quite often we would still come back and have a pint at the Flying Childers because it was just such a fantastic place. Normally we'd have an evening in weather like this, we'd sit out at the front and then just look at the view. I mean, it was just absolutely wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to the Flying Childers reopening. Well, I think Stanton-in-Peak is an absolutely stunning village. But I don't think I need to tell anybody that. Just look at it. Wonderful place. The views just sell this village. Must have some of the best views in the Peak District. Yeah, another friend of mine actually came from Stanton. Matt, he lived in Stanton for a long time, but he moved away some years ago. But yeah, really, really stunning village. Okay, well, I'm going to climb back up the hill now and I'll just retrace my steps to the 9 Ladystone Circle and I'll carry on with my walk. Having retraced my steps, I followed a path opposite the 9 Ladies through the trees to a stile. Climbing over, I turned right beside the fence above a steep escarpment. Okay, I'm now at the Earl Grey Tower. Earl Grey Tower, also known as Reform Tower, is a Grade II listed gritstone tower, constructed in 1832 for William Pole Thornhill. The tower was built to commemorate the passing of the Reform Act by Charles Grey, 2nd Earl Grey. Earl Grey Tower, what a great name, eh? Okay, well, I'm just going to continue on that side of the fence now as I follow the path along Stanton Moor edge. A little further on, the path led to the Catstone, another of Stanton Moor's standing stones. Beyond this, I continued along Stanton Moor edge as I followed the path on the left side of the fence. The views across the Derwent Valley towards Matlock were fantastic. Just absolutely spoilt for views around here. Great. What a fantastic day. Okay, I'll just carry on now and I'll soon be back in Birchover. I crossed a stile nearby to walk along the edge of the moor on the other side of the fence, bearing left as I gradually descended. I was now leaving Stanton Moor as my path dropped to meet a lane. I turned right, but after about 200 yards, abandoned the lane for a waymarked path on the left. This skirted around farm buildings, soon reaching a cross-junction of paths, where I took the one on the right, signposted to Birchover. I'm heading back into Birchover now, so I'm at the end of the walk. And what a lovely walk it's been. Quite a leisurely walk today. It's been less than 5 miles. The only strenuous bit really was my detour to Stanton-in-Peak, because I had to climb back out of the village afterwards, but it was worth it because it's such a beautiful village, as is Birchover. 2 beautiful villages on a lovely walk around Stanton Moor. And again, proud to have this on my doorstep. only 5 miles away from home.